You can gain the whole world and lose your soul. I've got a lot of clients, a lot of guys who have a lot of achievement, yet they still feel like something's wrong, that there's some kind of void inside of them. And that's what we're going to dig into. Bear with me tonight. My windows might be a little foggy. It's actually been raining all day, and right now it's just sort of sprinkling outside, but my windows are just fogging up like crazy. So this idea of gaining the whole world and losing your soul, I've got a lot of clients who come to this realization in one of two ways. So the first way is they have all the achievement, all the money that they could ever want, and then something happens. A loved one passes away. Their life partner breaks up with them. Some kind of outcome destroys their whole paradigm or identity. And they're left with this void, this idea of like, I've achieved all these things, but it doesn't mean anything. And from that point, they can either fall into the abyss of fatalism or nihilism, or they start to come to the realization that everything in this life is ephemeral. It's very temporary. And when you suffer like that, it's usually because you're just in a very deep resistance to what is, to what life is trying to do. And the lesson that needs to be learned for them is the lesson of surrender, which is very difficult for certain men to do because they came out of the victimhood stage and entered into the era of empowerment. And that empowerment is what they accredit all their achievements, all of their success, and to a degree that's true. But the next stage from empowerment is surrendering to something higher than yourself. Many people who have experienced AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, oftentimes they'll enter with little to no faith, no belief in God, no belief in a higher power. But basically before they take on people into AA, they're like, listen, you've tried everything else. The only option now is to at least open your heart and mind to the idea that there might be something greater than yourself, the external, and what you perceive as physical reality. And this usually starts people down the rabbit trail. And so a lot of my clients, they're like, hey, I've got all this money, I've got all the success. My mom recently died, my dad recently died, and I can't stop thinking about the fact that everything's temporary. I'm really coming face to face with my own death, my own mortality, and everything feels meaningless. And usually at that stage, I look at them and I say, congratulations. Something within you is trying to emerge. You have lived most of your lifetime and you've been blessed and honored to come across the dark night of the soul. And the dark night of the soul could also be known as the metaphorical chrysalis of your awakening. A chrysalis is whenever a caterpillar enters into that cocoon-like state. And in that state, they're experiencing all kinds of discomfort, all kinds of changes, things that its small caterpillar mind can't understand. I wouldn't be surprised if the caterpillar also thought maybe it was dying, if it can even think that deeply. But on the other side of it, what happens? They emerge as this new, beautiful creature who's able to fly. And that, my friend, is oftentimes what's happening to us when we're going through these things. So that's the first kind. The man who has the whole world, has money, success, goes through some kind of tragic loss. And the other kind is the man who has all these achievements and just feels this inner numbness. Like, okay, I've slept with women, I've made money, I've built the business, I've done all these things. Why does it feel like it's not enough? Why does it feel like I'm empty inside? And oftentimes for these men, The solution is very similar. Self-inquiry. Again, apologies for the fogging up. Nothing seems to be helping. But self-inquiry, going within, asking deeper questions, diving into spiritual text. A good beginner spiritual text to dive into, if you're just sort of hungry for something right now, is the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Over a decade now, I remember when I came across that book and I got the audio version. And I just had all this suffering, all these questions, all these feelings of discontentment, the void. And every night I would just go on these long walks and I would just listen to this book. And it was for the first time that I really felt seen, like a part of my soul was actually given permission to just be looked at. And that's what started me on this whole journey 10, 12 years ago. So that's a place to start for you if you feel a bit restless right now. Start dabbling in meditation. It's going to be difficult at first. It's going to feel almost like going to the gym the first time. If you've never lifted weights, and then all of a sudden you start lifting weights, a few days later you have this soreness, this discomfort, and you're going to be asking yourself, why the fuck would anybody ever subject themselves to this discomfort and pain? Meditation can be very similar. It might be the first time you've sat alone with yourself, sat alone with your thoughts, allowed your mind, the monkey mind, to just go insane, and instead of immediately reacting to it, saying, hey, I'm going to sit in this fucking chair, I'm going to let the mind go crazy, and I'm just going to watch it. Do that for a couple months. See what happens, see what comes to the surface for you. See what elements that you come face to face with that you might not fully understand. And then it's all uphill from there, my friend. You'll start getting this spiritual hunger within you, this desire for transcendence. And then you'll realize, hey, yeah, money, success, women, all those outer trappings, it's not the answer. But you can still have a sense of gratitude. You can appreciate those things and enjoy them from a more grounded place, a more loving place. Your relationships will change. A lot of men, they're in this cycle of using women as a vice, just like you would a substance, but it's another human being. And when you start to awaken in these deeper spiritual ways, you'll start to see people, including beautiful women, through this lens. When that happens, you know you're on the right track. But it starts with you, man. It starts with learning how to love yourself. A lot of it goes very deep. If you ask yourself what your relationship was like with your mother and your father, most of us had very traumatizing, difficult experiences with them. And another layer to that is, if you want to get more spiritual, I want you to open yourself up to the idea that you chose your parents. Let that sink in for a minute. What comes up for you when you hear that? Is it anger? Is it the idea of like, fuck no, I would never choose those dysfunctional people to be my parents? Your soul knows more than your mind. And whenever our souls incarnate here and decide to have this human experience, we know exactly the parents, the friends, the partners, all the people that need to come into our experience to increase the chances of us awakening and to start to ask these deeper questions for this feeling of longing within to surface, because your soul wants to evolve. And once you wake up to this, once you truly begin to wake up to this, there's no going back. And on the other side of that healing and transcendence, you're going to help other people realize the same thing, because there's nothing else to do. You're like, hey, I've got these truths, I've got this peace, I've got this inner stillness. What am I going to do now? Well, my cup overflows, and I want to empower and help other people awaken to the deeper essence of who they are. And then on the other side of this, you can enjoy your wealth. You can enjoy your experiences. You can enjoy your relationships. You can have a sense of gratitude for them. And you'll bring a new energy, a new quality to all of these things. So in a nutshell, that's a very short, simplified answer to something much deeper. But I just wanted to get you started on this path if that's something that you feel hunger for. And if you don't right now, that's okay. You will. You will. I think that's all I got for you tonight. I know for some of you, these topics are a little bit far out. If you have any questions, put them in the comments if you want me to expand on any of these topics. Just let me know. But I hope you feel seen tonight. You are loved. You matter. You've barely scratched the surface of what you're capable of. I'll talk to you soon.